Okay. Islam family. Today being the 27th of February 2012. We're just coming out to the end of February, which people know as Black History Month. We nicknamed it Bleach History Month, right? But in order to balance that misinformation, we brought our Moorish heritage, so it's also Moorish Heritage Month. And we brought Taj, we brought Grand Sheik Nature through Skype, through the powers of technology. You know what I mean? They've been able to share stuff with us, and they've been really dropping it on us. So we appreciate it. And today we have a special lecturer once again. Brother Alim Bey.
All right, peace. So
turn on your mic on that side real quick.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So just so everybody's clear about why we're doing what we're doing, right? When we first came into Moorish information, we got battles from other people who call themselves Moors, right? Because our early Canaanland Moors history, our immediate people around us that we studied from were the adepts that everybody kicked to the curb and said that, oh well, that Moor, because he's I'm talking about law, he's a renegade, and Prophet Noble Drew Ali never brought that. So why are you guys gonna go behind these guys that are renegades and getting people arrested or whatever, when you could come to the temple and give honor to the Prophet and Allah and be a real Muslim? And we're doing the research, right, through people like Alim Bey, right, Kadira Bey, right, through people like Taj, Tariq Bey, and Raz Mariah Bey. Like, this was our immediate circle, right? Daweed, Moors in Mecca, that they call Chicago now, right? If you live in Toronto, Canada, right, and you heard about Alim Bey, it's because of us. If you heard about Black Dot in Toronto, it's because of us. Let me just put it on the record, because people really don't know. Like, who heard about Professor Griffith doing lectures, it's because of us, right? Because even in Toronto, our immediate circle is adepts that been through every single school of thought in Toronto. The people that we build with, right? The people that we build with, our crew, right? Our crew is people who are in all these different schools of thought. NOI, UNIA, like whatever. Every school of thought for the liberation of our people. There's somebody on our side, right, that was in a school of thought that came out because they realized that it's BS. Because I don't care what you're talking about, if you're not talking about nationality, on top of what you're talking about, what you're saying doesn't mean anything to anybody. And nobody's not going to consider it, right? So us coming into this information is through people like Alim Bey, who like there's Moors that wear fezzes, that say they rep Noble Drew Ali or whatever, right? That aren't gonna buy Alim Bey's book. Ask how much Moors have Alim Bey's book. That's a question to put out there to Moors. How many Moors have Alim Bey's book? And if you don't have it, I want to know why, because he's a Moor. And we're supposed to support our own, right? Like that's what it's about. It's just about supporting our own. So if it's about supporting our own, then how come Pleasant Bay has books stacked up? How come I'm talking to Grand Sheik Nature and he's talking about piles of papers that he has old stuff in stacks, right? Because Prophet said, I need finance. So what do you spending money on? Because I don't care if we say that we're more or whatever, we got jobs. No matter what you're doing. So where's that finance going? That Noble Drew Ali said that if you don't give it to me, I'm going to get it anyways. Which means you lose 2 times. So you might as well just give it up. And not give it up in giving it to a temple. Right? Give it up to people who are doing the work. Right? If a man has a book telling you, everybody has questions about Moors. But nobody's going to go ask a Moor. They're going to go ask a black guy. Black guy's going to tell them some crap about Moors. They're going to go ask the NOI. NOI is going to tell them some crap about Moors. They're going to ask the Nuwapians. Nuwapians going to tell them some crap about Moors. They're going to go to UNIA, NAACP, you know, and they'll never ask a Moor and they'll never ask a Mason because they think that's the enemy.
Masons?
Yeah, because Masons have to wear fezzes too.
The white Mason or the black Mason?
The European Masons, let's call them, right? And not the black Masons, the Hiram Habifs. The guy who the foundation of Masonry is built on.
Yeah, the black guy.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, so if you know that, right, you know, you're just somebody that just came off your street. And you know that in Masonry there's this black guy, and that guy is who Masonry is built off of. So why do those quote unquote black guys have to go join that? Right? To be membership in something that's about them. That doesn't make sense. If you're the writer of the book, why are you gonna front like you didn't write it? You know? But all of that to say that we have a lot of talk. Right? But when it comes to activity, that's why Noble Drew Ali said all Moors are active. All Moors are doing something. And for us personally, like Alim Bey is doing something. Like he drove from North Carolina to here. Right? You know, people are gonna check what's going on, right? He drove from North Carolina to here, right? Using paperwork. That people are saying, oh yeah, forget paperwork. Paperwork doesn't mean nothing. Right? How are you gonna get across the border then if you're a Moor? Okay, well, Alim Bey came over here driving, traveling, and he got across the border with papers because of his indigenous status, not because he's Washita or because he's Moor or because whatever, but because he's the rightful heir to the land. Why wouldn't we give him passage? But nobody's going to go and ask him about that. North Carolina judge is going to come out and say, oh yeah, you know, you guys got to take care of your own bonds and all that stuff. We're not part of it no more. We're not dealing with it. And people are going to question stuff and ask about whatever when it's because of what Moors like Alim Bey are doing. Activity. Which activity has many different levels.
They're all related.
Yeah, they're all related. But you can't see Alim Bey tell you about go file UCC today and tomorrow go file UCC. Because that means you don't know. That means you're following. And if you're following, you're only going to get tripped up. Right? So this is like foundation. When we're saying we're doing a Ustream with Alim Bey, it's not because, you know, like we, rent him to come do a class. You know what I mean? That's Moorish family. That we have an obligation to each other. You know what I mean? You know, you could ask him when he came here how much notes people put into him. And he got his lecture fee. Just because. Why wouldn't he get it? You give Ivan Van Serma a lecture fee. Right? You give all these other historians lecture fees. But when it's Moors, well, because we're dealing with love as the first principle, we're just supposed to do stuff. Right? And if that's the case, then let's just support our own then. You know what I mean? So this is a call out to Moors, live on Ustream. If you don't have Alim Bey's book, First World Order, go get the book. Because now, since we're killing black history, right? Since it's death to black history, right? We're gonna put the last nail in the coffin. You know what I mean? We're gonna put up the tombstone on black history today, right? Because only a master could do it. And for us, one of our masters, right, that has, got us to the level where we're at, where other people are like, yo, kid, and like, you guys are really doing it big, like, keep doing your work. Okay, well, it's because of brothers like Alim Bey, Sister Kadira El Bey, right, that allow us to be able to be active. You know what I mean? So, y'all already know who it is. We don't have to introduce anything. More just go in. We have until 9 o'clock.
Floor is yours, Alim.
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Peace. Clear. Loud and clear.
All right. Islam. All right. So, we're going to go over is basically the demise of Black History Month and the resurgence of Moorish history. We're going to get into, like, for example, Dr. Khalid Muhammad is the epitome of the RBG movement right now, or the Black Power struggle in modern day times. Allah Salam, peace and blessings be upon him. We know that nationality is still the call for today, and he states his nationality for the record. So we're going to go to him saying his nationality. Muslim. You Muslim Khalid? Yes, I am. But I'm a Moor. Islam. I'm a Moor. You got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor. And wouldn't come in your house or come among you and say I'm a Moor if I didn't feel in my heart, in my mind, in my soul that I am. So, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. No more. So if I say, me, sure. That's it. All right, so you heard him say it himself. So that's nationality. That's nationality. All right. Now, Deuce Muhammad Ali, also referred to as Deuce Muhammad Ali Bey Ifani, born November 21st, 1866, died June 25th, 1945. That date, June 25th, 1945, is the day right before the establishment, as they say, of the League of Nations. That's a coincidence? I think not, but of course we leave that to those in which that do more study. He was born in Alexandria, Egypt, to a Sudanese mother and an Egyptian father. He was basically the father of Pan-Africanists. All right? And he passed that information on to Mosiah Marcus Garvey. All right? And he wrote, as well as Marcus Garvey wrote for him. They both wrote for each other. In 1909, he began his work as a journalist, publishing articles in the Egyptian nationalism and African oppression. 2 years later, he published a short story titled In the Land of the Pharaohs. Reputedly, the first history of Egypt was written by an Egyptian, and the book received critical acclaim. Now, in 1912, July, he founded the London in London, the African Time and Orient Review, which was a political, cultural, and commercial journal that advocated Pan-Africanism as well as also Asian nationalism. And that was a forum for African intelligence, intellectuals, and activists from around the world. Right? Now, the journal covered issues in the United States, the Caribbean, West Africa, South Africa, and Egypt, as well as Asia, including India, China, and Japan. Now, Marcus Garvey was living in London at the time, worked with Ali, and contributed articles to the journal. It ceased publication in October 1918 and succeeded by the African Orient Review, which operated through most of 1920. Now, in the year following the journal's demise, Ali traveled to the United States, and there he worked with Marcus Garvey, the Universal Negro Improvement Association movement, contributed articles on African issues to the Negro world, and headed a department on African affairs. Now, this is important because Prophet Muhammad Ali in the Holy Quran Surah 7 states that Marcus Mosiah Garvey is the forerunner of the teachings of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science / Moorish Science Temple of America, which is all encompassed as the Moorish Divine National Movement of the world. Now, in African origin of Freemasonry, its true history of Freemasonry in Africa and its research amongst Africans in the diaspora, it states that Marcus Garvey learned a lot from Deuce Muhammad Ali and the ideology of Pan-Africanism. Now, these colors in which that Marcus Garvey inherited came from conversations which he had with Deuce Muhammad Ali. All right, the international flag, or the Black nationalist flag, the African nationalist flag, or Pan-African flag, which is all referred to as the UNIA flag or Black Liberation flag, of course, is a tricolor flag consisting of 3 horizontal bands of colors of red, black, and green. And it was originally created as the official banner of the African race by members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, or the ACL, in which that the UNIA flag was designated as the official colors of the African race by the UNIA at its convention in Madison Square Garden in New York City. And formally adopted it as Article 39 of the Declaration of the Rights of Negro People of the World on August the 13th, 1920. That was just 4 days right before Marcus Garvey's birthday, which is August the 17th. Now, he states that the flag was created in 1920 by the members of the UNIA in response to an enormously popular song called "Every Race Has a Flag But the Coon." All right, that's the reason why it was created. It says that it was created because of this popular song in the 1900s called "Every Race Has a Flag But the Coon." So in 1921, the African Times and Orient Review, Marcus Garvey was quoted on the importance of the flag. And he stated, "Show me the race or the nation without a flag, and I will show you a race of people without any pride. Yet, in song and mimicry, they have said every race has a flag but a coon. How true. Yet, but that was said of us 4 years ago. They can't say it now. So that's the reason why it was produced. Marcus Garvey said that the colors on it symbolizes this: the red, the blood that unites all people of African ancestry and stands for liberation; black, for black people who exist on the nation through not nation state, it is affirmed by the existence of the flag; and green, which is the abundance of natural resources of Africa. Journalist Charles Obey White states that Marcus Garvey proposed the colors for the following reasons. Now, this is him saying, Garvey said it. He said that Garvey said red because of the sympathy for the reds of the world, and the green, the sympathy for the Irish, and the fight for the freedom, and the black for the Negro. Now, you got to understand that when he's using these terms black, these are adjectives. All right, and we'll get more into that in a minute. But a writer for Marcus Garvey is Carter G. Woodson, who is the father of the said Black History Week, Black History Month. All right? Now, what we now call Black History Month originated in 1926. It was basically Black History Week. And it was started by Carter G. Woodson as Negro History Week. Now, during that time period, not only did Carter G. Woodson write for Marcus Garvey, which means that he was obviously a member of the UNIA, or contributed to the writings of Marcus Garvey, Negro World publication, but he was the second graduate of Harvard University, right behind W.E.B. Du Bois. Now, you know anything during this time period, W.E.B. Du Bois was calling Marcus Garvey an ape and monkey and all types of names. All right? Now, Carter G. Woodson also wrote the famous book, Miseducation of a Negro. And which in the book, go back and read it, he states that many of us never even been to Africa and therefore are not African in those terms. And he said that what many don't realize is that we are already home. So basically he said the same thing in which that prophet Noble Drew Ali said.
Islam. Who is that again?
Carter G. Woodson.
Okay.
In his book, Miseducation of a Negro. Okay? So he knew that the said blacks or Moors were already home, as Prophet Noble Drew Ali already stated before, or have stated within his own traditions and proceedings. All right, so Carter G. Woodson, who was supposed to be a son of a slave, was born in New Canton, Virginia, December 19th, 1875. All right, he began in high school at the age of 20 and then proceeded to study at Brewer College, the University of Chicago, the Sorbonne, Harvard University, where he earned a PhD in 1912. Carter G. Woodson founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History in 1915 to train black historians to collect, preserve, and publish documents of black life and black people. All right, now I understand, we just using these terms because this is the way in which that is written up. We'll clarify this in a few minutes. He also founded the Journal of Negro History in 1916. All right, publications of Associated Publishers in 1920 and the Negro Bulletin in 1937. Woodson spent his life working to educate all people about the vast contribution made by black men and women through our history. Now, Mr. Woodson died on April the 3rd, 1950, and Black History Month is his legacy. All right, this is what this all is stemming from. With the carrying on the term black, this is what I'm trying to show and convey here. Of course, it says black inventors induced into the natural invention of Hall of Fame. It says recently the Patent and Trademark Office has been working very closely with the National Inventors Hall of Fame Foundation to honor the true story of black history. All right, obviously they're not getting it right as of yet. But when we go and look at the word, or the origin of the word black, this is how black entered into the English language. Through etymology, it's the study of the history of words. And you'll find out how black entered into the English language, from what source, and how it formed and meaning has changed over time. All right, black can be traced back to its Proto-Indo-European origin through black, which means to burn with black smoke, or to burn black with smoke. All right, black was incorporated into Old High German as black, which Low Francisco as black ink, or Old Norse as blacker, dark, dusty. Now, black in the Old and Middle English, the word black was related to the word block origin, and it was predominantly used as an adjective. As an adjective. So it's not a proper noun. It's not a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. It always has its origin as an adjective to describe color pertaining to matter that was colorless from the absence of, complete absence or absorption of light. Right now, you know that we're not absent without light. Just the fact that melanin has the ability in order to absorb light. So we can't be blocked. Even in the description of the definition of the Old English, it is off track. This adjective can be seen in Old English literature as K. Alfred Blaggen from 890, which means hathic, black, fat, which means having black hair. Now, by Middle English, it was commonly used by black as an adjective. My mistress' eyes are raven black. As a verb, the paper will be blackened by the smoke. As a noun, now look, that's 1600, that's 1532, and as a noun, stand before me like my blacks was 1960, which means hired mourners. Now look at this, black also meant hired mourners in funerals. This is where the word became associated with death. It was not until the 16th century that the semantics broadened of black occurred both figuratively in connotation as well as literal. For blacking, it is literal, meaning to stain black, came the figurative meaning to stain someone's reputation or defame. This association or additional meaning, however, was a negative, and as a influence broadened, and the semantic shift, black began to mean having malignant or deadly purpose, and even pertain to or involve death. Black curse, which was 1583. So the word black, meaning, as Prophet Overdrawi states, it meant black dates back to 1583. 1583. All right, the Queen Black Enemy, 1758. In the previous century, the Black Death. So by the 1600s, with the Black Plague or the Black Death, that word became synonymous with death. Black became synonymous with death. And this is what Prophet Overdrawi was saying, that black in science means death. Because this is what was taught, honestly, during the time of the 1800s and the early 1900s. All right, so that is some of the history, but let's go continue on. We see the king's semantics interference, in which that black is beautiful. So it also became black is beautiful. If you go to the Songs of Solomon, in the 1600s, you know that the Bible was written 1604 through 1611. It was edited in 1609 by William Shakespeare, Francis Bacon, under the behest of the Supreme Grand Master of the Masons at that time. Over England specifically was the individual known as King James. Blacks began to use to intensify all kinds of adjectives with adverse significance. Black Babylon, which means mischief, gossip, slander, 1624. The Black Burden, ill omens, auspicious, 1742. For example, the incorporation of black as a negative intensifier resulting in phrases such as black-looking man, which refers to not the physical description of the man, but to the subjective belief that he looked evil or malignant. This, however, severely clashed with one of the earliest use of the black literal meaning to describe a person with dark skin. Black as black among 1255, and the mouth of Ruhr, Gangri, which dwells the blackies, 1625. So synthetic combinations use black resulting in black boy to refer to boy servants, and black fellows to refer to Australian Aboriginal, terms which was highly offensive in modern English. So in modern English, the term black, all right, such as black boy or black fellows or whatever, was highly offensive. Right, by the mid-12th century, Dr. Martin Luther King's slogan, "Black is beautiful," by the mid-20th century, Dr. Martin Luther King's slogan, "Black is beautiful," caused significant semantic interference to black pejorative. All right, meaning, so King's slogan asserted pride in blackness. Now we know that they give the credit to Martin Luther King through the SNCC, 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 as well as also through SCLC, organizations in which that King was connected to. And from out of King's connection came Kwame Ture, known as Stokely Carmichael, in which that started also saying that black is beautiful, or be black and be proud. And of course, King, we know that James Brown later on took that slogan and made it into a song. So this is how black has been, through history, been brought in. But in most of the occasions, it always was an adjective. It was never as a proper noun. All right, so here it is. It says that King's slogan asserted pride of blackness and black self-awareness and turned black with a capitalized B into the preferred appellation for most African Americans. So King is the one in which that is connected to the word black being transformed from a adjective into a said noun by capitalizing the B. Okay? That's what happened. Now, amazingly, by 1984, his prodigy, the prodigy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Jesse Jackson, comes out with another label, another adjective called African Americans. Now, yeah, I said these are Boule members. Now, what is a boule? The word boule is a French word in which that means advisor to the kings. Who are the kings? Well, the kings are the Illuminati known as the Rockefellers and Rothschilds particularly. The Rockefellers control the western, northern, east, and southern hemispheres. Potentially, at least they try to, and the Rothschilds try to control the European unions in Africa. So they try to control the world resources, and this is how the 1% of the world manipulates the 99%. And so you have these Boule members putting forth phrases in which that are detrimental to us and has no bearing whatsoever as far as a nationality. So that means that they was working for the establishment in that regard. And if we go and do some more research, not only were they Boule members, Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson are also Masons, or were Masons. Now, this isn't to hit real Freemasonry, such as the Moorish rite of Freemasonry, but the Negro mentality, the slave mentality in Masonry, stemming from the Prince Hall Masons, is detrimental to our existence, and this is why Prophet Ali rebelled against it. You can see his hand as he stands in the Royal Arch, 7th-degree stance, with his feet at a 45-degree angle, meaning that he's a master mason, with his hand at his chest, with his hand out, unlike a picture that you might see of Napoleon and others whose hand is tucked inside, which symbolizes that they are concealing the truth, while Prophet Ali said that he was there in order to reveal the hidden mysteries of Freemasonry. This is also within the oral traditions and prophecies of Prophet Noble Alim. All right, so this is how this word came into now being so popularized through lay members who was getting funded by the federal government and who was working on behalf of the Rockefellers particularly. So neither black nor African American has any bearing whatsoever. These are artificial labels. Now, of course, if we speak amongst ourselves and understand that it's an adjective and it describes a thing, then that's no problem. However, when we start to take it and transform it into a proper noun, we have to discuss that. But it's not right in this act.
Islam.
All right, so we know that the colors of the flag have gone throughout from the UNIA throughout Africa, and over 22 countries have these same colors. Is there something wrong with the colors? Of course not. Now I'm going to show you why. In Sudan, they have these colors. Dr. York used these same colors. It came through the Mahdi, who's the right guided one or redeemer. The original name was Muhammad Ahmed ibn Asa'id Abdullah. Now, he was born August the 12th, 1844, died June 22nd, 1885, from out of Sudan, or the men. Now, he was the creator of the vast Islamic state extending from the Red Sea to Central America and the founder of the movement that remains influential in the Sudan a century later. Now, we showed you that who was born of Sudanese and Egyptian parents, it was Dus Muhammad Hassi. He was from the Sudanese, so he knew of these flag colors of the red, black, and green. He knew of these colors. Dr. York knew of these colors when he was Asa'id al-Ma'isa al-Hati al-Mati. He was inspired by Honorable Marcus Moses Garvey, Noble Ali, Sheikh Daoud Ahmed Basil, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and others. Imam Isa formed a group called the Ansar Pure Sufis since 1967. Which became the Ansar Allah Nubian Islamic community by 1973. Here are his colors that he promoted. So of course, you see here the same flag in which I showed you, in which that came from out of Sudan. But this is where it originated from. We say Sudan and Egypt, which is right there. Egypt sits on top of Sudan in Ethiopia. So that's the region which that it comes from, known as the Kushite Empire. But as you see, the colors red, black, green is on the wings of Ma'at, which our teachings, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice are an extension of the Ma'at and her 7 virtues of life. Truth, righteousness, justice, which is law, freedom, balance, order, morality. And her wings symbolize freedom, or the ability to ascend. Ma'at was the nature of the goddess, regulating the stars, seasons, and the actions of both mortals and the natural rules, the deities, or gods and goddesses who set the order of the universe from chaos at the moment of creation. So these colors symbolizes what was the colors, the frequencies at that time period. Let's go into it from what it means in Egypt. The word red, which is Beshir, was the color of life, energy, fire, and victory. Black, Cam, symbolized the underworld, death, but also resurrection. Or Sar, which is Osiris, the king of the afterlife, was known and called the Lord of the Perfect Black. All right? Green, which is Wajid, was the color of vegetation, new life, beneficial, life-producing behavior. Or Sar was often betrayed with green skin, referred to the great Greek which of course we know that in the Quran he becomes Al-Qadir, which means the green one, as well as also Melchizedek within the Bible, which symbolizes the awakening of the soul, the resurrection. Heru, Herumes, Keresmes. It is a reference to his power over vegetation into his own resurrection. And you have the colors again being shown, red, black, and green. It symbolizes the colors of resurrection once again, as well as also the frequencies and the sound in which that emitted from the Big Bang, from the creation of the universe. You see the colors here on Heru, who is the resurrected one. He's Chaim Abith in masonry, who's at 90 degrees perpendicular level, right and exact, upright. Tahuti has the same colors. The throne of Osar, I should say the throne in which Osar sits upon, which actually the throne is of Orset, his wife. This is actually Orset. Red, black, and green. Here at the crown, the colors, red, black, and green. This right here symbolizes the pineal gland, the reawakening, the sun, the Ra within each and every one of us. And hence the enlightenment, which symbolizes the plumes. This is where the 10 Commandments come from. The two tablets is actually made from off of this particular symbol of salt. This is the lotus, symbolizes the 1,000 petals of enlightenment. Metaphysically, the colors symbolizes the colors of healing light therapy, chronotherapy, and red symbolizes the survival, security, security, trust, element of the earth. Green symbolizes the association of the heart and lungs, the willingness to live, association with the sense of touch, the element of air. All right, black symbolizes melanin, protection, absorbing negative energy, power, mystery, hidden knowledge, supreme balance. We have the same colors on our flag. The flag of Morocco is made of red field, a black bordered green, interwoven green star. So red, black, green. So there is no separation. This is why Prophet Nabi said that the forerunner is Marcus Messiah God. In the same flag colors that he has, we have.
Islam.
What kind of flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag with 5-pointed star and green in the center, symbolic to what? Planet Venus for love, copper. What do the 5 points represent? Love, truth, freedom, and justice, which is the laws of Mayat. How old is our flag? It is over 50,000 years old. That's in the 101. It's 10,000 years old in the 102. It's 50,000. It is 10,000 in the 101. And it says, what shade of their colors? This is question 63. What shade is of their colors? Talking about us. It says olive. So we didn't use the term black. We use an actual person, place, or thing. A thing. And olive is a thing. So olive is a proper noun, or can be. Okay?
Islam.
Now, Webster University Dictionary, 1937 edition states that Americans, now remember, we showed you that the 5-pointed star symbolizes green, which is Venus, which symbolizes copper. Well, here goes the connection. Webster University Dictionary, 1937, it says an American, defined as American, an aboriginal, or one of various copper natives found on the American continent by the descendants of European settlers. The following is the original application of the word, of the name Maru. This is where the origin of the word Maru. The copper-colored natives, symbolic to Venus, the 5-pointed star, love, the color copper. These are how olives look. Olives range from green to brown to what appears to be black. So that's why the term olive was used in order to incorporate the ranges and the shades of mauve. Now, some don't understand that this information was hidden from us, but it's in the Blackstone Dictionary, 4th edition, deluxe. You look up abnormality,
culture, uninterest. Culture, uninterest. Culture.
excuse me, abnormality, a court which has a very extensive jurisdiction of maritime cause, civil, criminal controversies arising from out of the acts done upon or relating to the sea and questions of prize. It is properly the successor of the consular courts, which were emphatically the courts of merchants and seagoing persons. Now, who was the Moors? The Moors was navigators. It was the masters of the 7 seas. So this was our court process, which was the consular courts. And it says that was established in the principal maritime cities of the revival of commerce after the fall of the Western Empire. Hold up, I thought we was living in the Western Empire. When did it fall? I thought the Western Empire was North, Central, and South America and the adjoining islands. When did this Western Empire fall? According to their definition of admiralty, it fell sometime. And it must have been recently. Also, the system of jurisprudence relates to the growing out of the jurisdiction and practice of admiralty courts. So the admiralty courts that they now have, which is set up, which is these kangaroo courts, is they claim is the proper successors of the consular courts, but it can't be because these courts are de facto and ours is de jure. But because they dealt with commerce, they claim that they are. But let's go to consular courts. Look at this definition. Courts held by the consul of one country within the territory of another under authority given by treaty for the settlement of civil cases. Now you know that all cases criminal on criminal cases are civil action. All criminal cases are actually civil. In some instances, they have also criminal jurisdiction. But in this respect, we were subject to review by the courts of the home government. The last of the United States consular courts, and in parentheses it says Morocco, was abolished in 1956. You go back and study, the bullet member by the name of Martin Luther King began to put us on the path of civil rights without us being recognized as human beings in 1955. This is a serious issue that must be here. But the last of the United States consular courts is Morocco, because this is our Morocco. This is a maxim. This is America. Morocco, or Morocco, our Morocco, which is America. Meru, Moro, Meru, Moro, M-O-R-O, M-E-R-U. M-E-R-U, short for M-E-R-I. M-O-R-O, all of these are the same words. M-O-O-R, M-U-U-R. Understand that the M-R are ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs known as Metronetra, which symbols is an owl and a mouth of Ra, called the rule. That's why that hour is on the dollar bill. And it's behind the pyramid, the eye. The hour itself symbolizes the all-seeing eye because the hour head can turn around all 360 degrees. Proof that the Moors was trying to fight the Negro status is the fact that the journals of the House of the Representatives, 1789 through 1790. The above is a petition from a small party of free Moors in 1790 to avoid the status of Negro, and that in this case they should commit any fault, for they are tried as citizens of the United States and not under the Negro Act. According to Dr. Francis Quest Wilson, the system attacks the people of color. Of course, we don't use the word color either as an adjective. It describes a thing. It's not a proper noun, but it is all right in this context, particularly people of African descent. I don't have a problem with the word African. Prophet Nebuchadnezzar used it throughout the Holy Quran Circle 7. In the 9 major areas of people activities: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Underline is law. So we have to learn this information. Dr. Wilson believed that it's imperative that the people of color, especially people of African descent, understand how the system of white supremacy works in order to dismantle it and bring true justice to planet Earth. All right? We call it pale supremacy. White itself is a fiction, just like black is. The only way in which, according to Black's Law Dictionary 4th edition, that makes sense is the free white person, in which that the Moors are listed as part of. And if you go and do the study on the Moors, all of the names in which that is stated within the definition or an extension of the Moorish family, and it says specifically that it does not include Caucasians and Aryans. Reason why? Here we have, where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Dr. Martin Luther King realized that he messed up. Harry Belafonte stated that he felt that Dr. Martin Luther King talked to him about that he felt that he was bringing his people into a burning building. So in where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Dr. Martin Luther King states, we're approaching an area where the voice of the Constitution is not clear. We have left the realm of constitutional rights and we are entering the area of human rights. Well, how do you enter the area of human rights without and not yet being recognized as human beings? As Malcolm says, well, that means that you have to learn how to put something on a public record. You have to make a public proclamation of your emancipation, of your liberation. Malcolm X speaks on the civil rights versus human rights. He says human rights comes before civil rights. You can never get civil rights until you have human rights. Human rights represents the rights to be human beings. However, you are recognized, respected, and recognized as a human being. Your civil rights are automatic. No, you have to get recognition of human rights first. The Constitution classifies our people as 3/5 of a man, which makes subhuman. Not a complete human being, or once our human characteristic was completely destroyed, this gave them justification for treating us like we were animals. Now you got to understand that this is the same thing that Prophet Nebuchadnezzar stated within the Moorish literature. He stated that we will be seen as undesirables, and we would get everything which we deserve because we have not done anything and follow the path of our ancient foremothers and forefathers to be Moors. So anything in which that the our beyond heap upon us, such as any genocide practice as they are doing, because we refuse to wake up, will be permitted. So we are forsaking our God for their thought form, white Jesus. Hell man. Devil. Lower nature. Lower self. The lower mind. That gets us in all types of trouble. He has also justified the selling of us. If the black man's human race has been respected, he never would have been a slave here in America. And if his human rights were being restored by the Emancipation Proclamation, automatically we would have been citizens after the war, Civil War. So we must be recognized as humans. Our human rights must be respected before we can ever be regarded as citizens, and our civil rights be respected. So, if we don't even have human rights, we're not even citizens. And this is according to the Constitution, 3/5 of the human being, Article 1, Section 2. It simply says it. Other 3/5 person. Well, who the hell is 3/5 person? This is how George Bush won in Florida, when over 10,000 votes was hidden in attics and basements. He won using the 3/5 rule. That's how he won. So he didn't technically cheat. He just said, well, niggas still don't have 2/5 or something in which they would win if they were citizens, but since they're not citizens, well, here, 3/5 rule applies still. They're not 5/5, or they're not recognized as whole beings because they don't even have human rights as of yet. Technically, we are American citizens, but we're not U.S. citizens, and as the Dred Scott case states, will never be and don't want to be. In the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, it specifically states, Article 2, Indigenous people, and this is how we also begin to get recognized as having human rights. Indigenous people and individuals are free and equal to all other people and individuals, and have the right to be free from any kind of discrimination in exercise. In particular, the basis for their indigenous origin or identity. Article 3, indigenous people have the right to self-determination. By virtue of the right, they freely determine their political status, freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Article 4, indigenous people in exercising this right of self-determination have the right to autonomy or self-government. So we have the right to form our own government in matters relating to their internal and local affairs, as well as means or ways and means for financing their autonomous functions. Article 5, indigenous people have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinctive political, legal, economic, social, cultural institutions while retaining their right to participate fully if they so choose in political, economic, social, and cultural life of their states. 6, every indigenous individual have the right to a nationality. 7, indigenous individuals have the right to life, physical and mental integrity, liberty, and security of person. 2, indigenous individuals have the collective right to live in freedom, peace, and security as distinct people, and shall not be subject to any act of genocides or any other act of violence, including forcible removal of children of the group to another group. So them taking the children out of the home, and we was Moors and we stood up and we had our information filed on the record or for the public record, and we also had the connections to the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, then it would give us some type of leadway. This is what Taj teach. This is what Ras Mariah Bay teaches also. We teach the same in Washington. Article 8.1, indigenous people and individuals have the right not to be subject to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. States shall provide effective mechanisms for prevention of and redress for any action which has the aim or effect of depriving them of their integrity or distinct peoples or their cultural value or ethnic identity. Let's go down to 9. Indigenous people and individuals have the right to belong to an indigenous community or nation in accordance with the traditions and customs of the community or nation concerned. So you have the right to form your own community, your own nation. As well as also 11, indigenous people have the right to practice and revitalize their cultural traditions and customs. This includes the right to maintain, protect, develop the past, present, and future manifestations of their culture, such as archaeological and historical sites, artifacts, design, ceremonies, technologies, visual and performing arts, and literature. So we know that Prophet Ali said that in order to change the mind of the people, we must change the literature. Indigenous people have the right to manifest, practice, develop, and teach their spiritual, religious traditions, customs, and ceremonies. The right to maintain, protect, and assess in privacy to their religious and cultural sites. The right to use and control their ceremonial objects, and the right to repatriate of their human remains. In other words, we have the right to get back our things in which that is within the British Museum. That's in the Louvre. That's in Smithsonian. Article 13. Indigenous people have the right to revitalize, use, develop, transmit to future generations their histories, languages, oral traditions, philosophies, and writing systems and literatures, and to designate and retain their own names for communities, places, and persons. So you have the right to have your own name, along with a nationality. Is this not what Prophet Ali taught?
Islam.
Article 14, indigenous people have the right to establish and control their educational system and institutions providing education in their own languages in a manner appropriate to their cultural methods of teaching and learning. 18, indigenous people have the right to participate in decision makers in matters which will affect their rights through representation chosen by themselves in accordance with their own procedures, as well as to maintain and develop their own indigenous decision-making institutions. Article 33. Indigenous people have the right to determine their own identity and membership in accordance with their customs and traditions. This does not impair the right of the indigenous individual to obtain citizenship of the state in which they live. Remember, the Moors been fighting since the 1700s, probably before that, to become citizens, to be classified as American citizens and not under the Negro Act. 34. Indigenous people have the right to promote, develop, and maintain their institutional structure in their distinct customs, spirituality, traditions, procedures, practices, and in the case which they exist, judicial systems and customs in accordance with the international human rights standards. Article 35. Indigenous people have the right to determine the responsibility of individuals to their communities. 44. The rights and the freedom recognized here is equivalent granted to male and female indigenous individuals. So, you have the right to have your own court system once again, your own consular courts or council or judicial board or whatever name in which that you want to call it. You have that right. Let's look at the Inter-American Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People and the definition of the word indigenous. In this definition, indigenous people are those who embody historical continuity with societies which existed prior to the conquest and settlement of their territories by Europeans. Now, we know that over 5,000 years ago, the Olmecs were here in the Americas, in South America, Central America, specifically in Mexico, and went up into the Mississippi Delta throughout the South, Eastern Seaboard, and the northern portion throughout Chicago, Detroit, and New York, and on up into Canada, Canaanland. The Olmecs was spread out throughout that whole territory, millions of us. There was over 125 million of us already here prior to the Europeans. Now, Prophet Ali said that the Moors was living all up and down the Mississippi Valley, going to his oral traditions and prophecies. And that's the reason why, because the Olmecs was the rulers of the South. Hakeem Bey speaks on this from an article in which I was in the Nexus magazine years ago. in which they said at one time the blacks ran the South. And it says alternative one, as well as people brought involuntarily to the New World who freed themselves and reestablished the culture from which they had been torn. So this includes the RBGs who want to fight with the Moors, who obviously don't read and study as they should, because if they did, there would be no issue. But if they would read and study, they would see that even those who was bought involuntarily, who was born here as POWs, who was born here as slaves, since that is the route in which that they want to take on, the legacy that they want to take on, it's just slavery, the Middle Passage, the Great Ma'afa, and then negate the contributions that we have done here in the Western Hemisphere. But it even includes the 15% of those who was born here, because the Empress teach us, Brady Austin Gaston Trinidad Bay teaches us that 85% of our ancestry was already here in the Western Hemisphere. Number two, what does it say? Self-identification. Not them determining for us who we are, but self-identification as indigenous or tribal shall be regarded as a fundamental criteria for determining the group to which these provisions of this declaration applies. You see that? Self-identification as indigenous or tribal is the criteria. So we have our own nationality card. Comes from the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the Free Soldiery, Moorish Science Temple of America / the Moorish Divine National Movement, as well as also United Washington Debate the Money. Moors. We have our own nationality card because this is the rule of the day, self-identification. This correlates to self-determination within the teachings of what most of us probably just got finished practicing in December, known as Kwanzaa. If you read the Federal Law Rules of Evidence, Article 9, authentication and identification states, look at this, self-authentication. Self-identification, authentication. And it says, foreign public records, documents, certified copies of public record, official publications, which is books, pamphlets, and other publications purported to issue from the public authority, newspapers, periodicals, trade inscriptions, and the like, a knowledge document, all right, commercial papers and related documents, presumptions under the state statute, certified document records or regular conduct activities, all of that are part of the verification. That was self-identification and authentication. Here in the Americas, and specifically in North America, these is for rules of evidence. And in order to state who you are and to prove who you are, you must self-do it. You must self-identify who you are. A privilege do not supersede a right. So if you get a driver's license or any type of privileges, they do not supersede a right. There's nothing in writing in which that you have stated that you have negated or that you have arbitrated your unalienable rights. Your unalienable rights are still valid. You have never waived your rights. Those are God-given. Those are God-given rights. These are some of the principles of the Declaration of the Rights of Negro people of the world up under Sir Marcus Garvey, Mosiah. We know to all men that whereas all men are created equal and entitled to the rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, because of this we, the duly elected representative of the Negro people of the world, invoking the aid of the just and almighty God, do declare all men, women, and children of the blood throughout the world free, designated, and do claim to be free citizens of Africa, and the motherland of all Negroes. We declare that Negroes, whosoever they form a community amongst themselves, shall be given the right to elect their own representations and represent themselves, legislative, courts of law, or such institutions as may exercise control over the particular community. So even Marcus Garvey was trying to put together their own court system. We believe that any law or practice to tend to deprive any African of his land or privilege from free citizenship within his country is unjust and immoral. Shall respect any law or practice. We declare taxation without representation unjust and tyrannous, and shall be no obligation of the part of the Negro to abide the levy of a tax by any lawmaking body from which he is excluded and denied representation on account of his race or color. We believe the self-determination of all people. We declare for the freedom of religion, religious worship. We demand the rights of unlimited and unprejudiced education for ourselves and our posterity forever. This is what Marcus Garvey was teaching. All right, I'll continue moving on. But the point is, property cannot own property. So as long as you're being labeled 3/5 of a person, which is Negro, Black, and colored status, you are a subhuman, as Malcolm X stated. And you're also a slave. A person who is wholly subject to the will of another, one who has no freedom of action, or whose people or person, and services are wholly under control of another. One who is under the power of a master and who belongs to him, so the master may sell and dispose of his person and of his industry and of his labor without being able to do anything, have anything, or acquire anything, but what must belong to his master. You see this? This is Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. So, this is where we at right now. We up under the labels of Negro, Black, and colored. Property cannot own property. We're still slaves to this industry, to this establishment. Chattel papers, or chattel, an article of personal property or any species of property not amounting to freehold or fee in land. The term chattels is more comprehensive one than goods, as it includes animated as well as inanimated objects. This is on property. Black's Law Dictionary, 1st edition. So animated, that means that you live and you're animated, and you can also be titled chattel, and you are titled chattel as long as you're up under Negro, Black, and colored status, which are adjectives once again. Right? In the birth, marriage, and death certificate, as well as the mortgage notes, which are now warehouse receipts or warehouse documents, you see here that it states on the birth certificates, American Banknote Company, Midwest Banknote Company, in other words, some type of banknote company. These are bonds. A certificate is a paper established what? An ownership claim. A certificate is a paper establishing an ownership claim. This is Barron's Dictionary of Banking Terms. So who claimed you? Your name is in all caps. So therefore, you are a corporation, an artificial person, which hence Negro, Black, and colored status once again. And you are claimed by their banking system, by the finite seers of the world, by the Federal Reserve banks, by the IMF, which is International Monetary Fund, by the World Banking System. The registration of the birth certificate began in 1915. Amazing. 1 year after Sir Marcus Garvey, 2 years after Prophet Noble Alim, by the Bureau of Census, with all the states adopting the practice by 1933, based on the House Joint Resolution 192. Negro, let's look it up. It's in the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. The word Negro means a black man, one descended from African race. It does not commonly include a mulatto. So Negro is black, is African. But the law of the different states are not uniform in this respect. Some includes the description of Negro, one who has 1/8 or more of African blood. The term Negro, check this out, means necessarily person of color, but not every person of color is a Negro. What?
What? Read that again.
The term Negro means necessarily person of color, but not every person of color is Negro. Interesting. So Negro is black, can mean African, can mean colored, but then again, not every person of color is a Negro. So hence, Moors are not classified as Negroes.
Islam.
That's what that means. Islam. This is Rice versus Gun Moon on 39 Mississippi 766104. Black person. Black's Law Dictionary again, 4th edition. Black person, according in Constitution and laws, must be taken in its generic sense as contradiction from white. So black person is a generic term. It's generic. What do generic mean? A vague term. It's not specific because it's not a noun. The word black is an adjective and the word person is an adjective. So black person is still an adjective. The word person, according to Black's Law Dictionary, means an artificial person, a corporation. So black person means a black corporation. A artificial black person. Or a black artificial. What they call it on the computers? Artificial intelligence. An AI. So that means a black AI. Artificial intelligence. And that's what you're working with when you keep claiming these damn adjectives. You are showing that you have artificial intelligence. And that you're a goddamn fool. Look at the color. Look at the word color. Color in appearance, a semblance, a second, but described from that which was a prima facie or an apparent right. Hence, a deceptive appearance. A plausible, assuming, concealing lack of reality. A disguised text. Word color means it appears to be right, but isn't. It has a deceptive appearance. It assumes to be real, but isn't. It conceals a lack of reality. Now hold up. The opposite of real is artificial. Oh, they got you back. They got you back in AI status again. They got you back in AI status again. Because it says concealing a lack of reality. And then if you don't believe that they tie the word color, which is a lack of reality, here it is. The word also means dark color. Showing the presence of Negro blood is equivalent to African descent. Now, when we say that we don't have a problem with African or the word Africa, we're talking about in its ancient Egyptian context or deconnotative meaning. In other words, Af or Afu means body or flesh, Ra means light or sun, and Ka means spirit. So it means the body of the spiritual sun. We are the body of the spiritual sun, which is the divine soul. And God is within your holy vessel, which is your physical body. So we don't have a problem with the original meaning of the word African, and this is why within the Holy Quran, Circle 7, Noble Prophet Noble Jali used the word African. However, I have a problem with it in lore as far as the status, because they always tie Negro, black, color back to African descent. Colored. Let's look at the word colored. By common usage in America, this term is such phrases as colored persons, the colored race, the colored men, and the like. It is used to designate Negroes or persons of African race, including a person mixed blood descent from Negro ancestry. There's nobody from black, Negro, colored ancestry. That shit doesn't exist. And here it is. Let's go down. It has also held that there is no legal technical significance to the phrase colored person, which the courts are bound judicially to know. Oscar versus Dawes, 31 Texas 74, United States Supreme Court case law. So right there it says, it has also been held that there is no legal technical significance signification to the phrase colored person. In other words, it has no meaning whatsoever in a true court of law. And the court don't have to recognize you coming in there under those terms because they're going to presume that that's what you are anyway, because according to their law, black, Negro, and colored are artificial labels and hence which are deemed undesirables. So therefore, only thing you need to do when you come to court is accept the charges being brought up against you. Slaves. And you need to say that you understand in the court of law. Don't you understand the charges being brought up against you? Yes. And then you're going to take it behind to jail because they have attached that statute, which is a bond. And now you have to pay for it because you accepted those terms, that artificial status. When you should be in court saying no, emphatically not. I do not understand the charges being brought up against me. Because number one, I'm not a citizen. Judge Scott case versus Sanford. Judge Chaney states that Negroes and those of African descent are not United States citizens and will never be. There in Canada, according to the Articles of Confederation, it lists Canada and the United States as being one.
Islam.
Honorable Marcus Garvey and Prophet Noble Ali together. We have much proof besides for just this picture. Garvey stated in his philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, he speaks about nationhood. Nationhood is the only moderate civilization can completely protect itself. Nationhood is the only way in a moderate civilization. Is the only way that we can completely protect ourselves. So we must nationalize. Independence of nationality, independence of government is the means of protecting not only the individual, but the group. Nationhood is the highest ideal of all peoples. The world does not count races and nations that have, nor do the count races and nations who describe themselves as artificial. Marcus continued on for each nation. Now we show you a people oppressed, abused, taken advantage of by others. Show me a weak race, and I will show you a people reduced to serfdom, peonage, and slavery. Show me a well-organized nation, and I will show you a people in a nation respected by the world. The greatest weapon used against the Negro is disorganization. So the greatest weapon against the Moors is disorganization. And it's still going on today.
Islam.
Oh, everybody got an ego. Everybody wants to be number one, wants to put together the Moorish nation. And everybody wants to come up on it. Everybody wants them to come up under their banner. And it's nothing with unification, but it's not going to happen with ego. But it's going to happen is through treaties. We must have treaties with one another with specific guidelines and conduct for each nation. And as the nations come together, or as the tribes come together, we form an empire. You see when it says that the Western Empire fell. Well, we get ready to resurrect that. This is the rise of the Moors, the new Moorish Renaissance.
Islam.
Islam.
Here we have a note, an actual postcard sent from Prophet Noble Ali to his wife, Pearl, in which that he stated that he just finished visiting Marcus Garvey in 1927 while he was held in the federal prison in Atlanta, Georgia. So here in the Holy Quran, Circle 7, in the end of times of fulfillment of prophecies, Prophet Noble states that in the modern days there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet who was the brain, the true and divine tree of Islam, and his name is Noble Alim, who was prepared and sent to his earth by Allah to teach the old and the everlasting gospel.
Shall and must worship in their own heart and preach, turn to their faith, and be one with all the God of love. Here, this is a misconception going around in the audience saying that the Moors are anti-African. Now let's give them time. The word African shows up in the whole Quran Circle 7. In the empire, in the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. Oh, there it is, one.
The inhabitants of Africa, oh, there it is, two. Oh, and the descendants of the African Canaanites from the land of Canaan, old man Cush and the family of the first inhabitants of Africa, oh, there it is, three. Who came to the land of Canaan, and his father Ham and the family of the second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the domestication of the line of dominion of Mexum. And the first and true divine name of Africa, oh, there it is again, 4, the dividing of the land between the father and the son, the dominion of Kush, northeast and southeast Africa, oh, there it is again, 5, and the northwest and southwest is his father, the dominion of Africa, there it is, 6. In later years, many of his brothers from Asia in the Holy Land joined them, and the Moabites from the land of Moab, who also received permission from the Pharaoh of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. Oh, there it is again, 7. And there was also founders in the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittites, and Amorite brothers who sojourned from the land of Canaan. The dominion and habitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa. Oh, there it is, 8. So we have no problem with that word, according to Prophet Noble Ali. However, we got to make sure that you who do not understand what we're talking about know for sure what we're talking about. Here we have Pangea, known also as Canaanland, in which they see North America as the northwest portion of Africa. Hence, North America actually is Northwest Africa. The dominion and the habitation extended from Northeast and Southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even into the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantean Island. Great earthquake, the Great Atlantic Ocean. This was called Asia or Canaanland, which is also known as Pangea, when all of the land masses were together, the 7 continents. That was over 200,000 years ago. If you read Forbidden Archaeology, we was already here in America 600 million years ago, according to Michael, what's his name, Richard Thompson and Michael Creemore, in their book Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race. We was already here in North America 600 million years ago, smelting metals and irons. This is why in the 102 and the 101, questioning for American, the Moorish children or Moorish Americans and states, why are we Moorish Americans? Because we are descent of the Moroccans and born in America. 32, what is the Moroccan Empire? Northwest of Mexum. 33, what is the modern name for Mexum? Africa. So this is Northwest Africa. This is why they said that the Western Empire fell, because this is Northwest Africa, known as a Mexum. Prophet Noble Ali writes within the Holy Quran, Circle 7, the industrious act of the Muslims of Northwest and Southwest Africa. These are all the Moabites, Hamites, Canaanites, and who were driven from out of the land of Canaan by Joshua and received permission from the Pharaoh of Egypt to settle in the portions of Egypt. In later years, they formed themselves kingdoms. These kingdoms are called this day Morocco, Angiers, Tunis, Tripoli, etc. Morocco is not just there in Africa, which is known as the kingdom of Morocco, but in extension is here in America, which is known as the Empire of Morocco, known as also as the Songhai Empire, or the Songhai Ghanese Empire, also referred to as the Washitor Empire, known as the Kushite Empire. Read the book by Priscilla Houston, The Wonderful World of the Ancient Ethiopians of Kush. Hannibal, the same colors of red, black, and as he goes into Italy. This is where the confusion of Africa comes in at, and the reason why many say that Africa was named after a white man. It actually wasn't. Here we have Hannibal, son of Hamilcar Bakar, in which that Hannibal means the grace of Baal, and Baal is my Lord. But Hannibal was a Carthaginian military commander and technician, often regarded as the greatest military technician and strategist in European history. So they acknowledged the black man or the Moor, as we would say, as being the greatest military technician and strategist. One of his most famous achievement was the outbreak of the Second Punic War, where he marched an army which included war elephants from Iberia over the Alps into northern Italy. Hannibal occupied much of Italy for 15 years. This we also get the Sicilians from. But a Roman counter invasion of North Africa forced him to return to Carthage, where he was defeated by Scipio Africanus at the Battle of Zama. This was where the confusion come in at, where Scipio's named Africanus. It has been assumed so by several Afrocentric scholars, and because of this, many students they still perpetuate this fallacy. All right, this is him. Publius Cornelius Scipios Africanus, known as Scipios Africanus. Scipio the Elder was the general in the Second Punic War and savings of the Roman Republic. He was best known for defeating Hannibal at the battle of the Second Punic War at Zaba, and the feat that earned him the Alim, which is the nickname Africanus. So he got that as a nickname, Africanus. That means Africa existed by name prior to him having it. They could have come up with a name for this European, you know what I'm saying, out of the whim, out of the blue. It existed already. And so that was a nickname given to him. He was known as the Roman Hannibal Africanus. So it's a great misconception. Right? Akibalon also has been another word in which has been promoted in Afrocentristic circles, in which that is known as the only indigenous name for the continent of Africa, and that's not true. Akibalon is an Arab name. It's an Arab name. If you go to, according to Quasi-Ra, Nahim Fatah Akan, the origin of the word term Africa, he says the name Africa is not European or Arab origination. Word Raka meaning house of the great spirit, soul of Ra, photonic light or energy. This is his website. You can go to www.odwirafo.com/NANASOM.html. This is also taken from the pyramid text of Heter in Ra. So the word Afra or Africa is written in the pyramid texts of that. Here we have an album by the brother Afu-Ra, which means the body of the light force. Afu means body, Ra means light force.
Islam.
But this is the brother who used to rock with
J. Root.
the Damager. And he called himself Afro-Rock. Alright? In Tamarian terms, the term Ra, when he moves through matter, is Afra. You see that? So when this spirit or this force, prana, chi, ki energy moves through matter, the physical body, it is known as Afro-Ka. The creator of Afra takes on the form of Ra, which symbolizes Aries, the head of the zodiac, because it's within the head that the soul is embedded inside of the pineal gland. And Afro means flesh, body, house, temple, or Ra meaning life force. The Egyptian Book of the Dead tells you that by E.A. Wallace Budge. Hence, this correlates to 1 Corinthians 3:16. Do you not know that you're temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? 1 Corinthians 6:19. What you not is the temple of the Holy Spirit which is in you. Therefore, glorify God in your body. 2 Corinthians 6:16. And with what agreement has the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. And as God has said, I will dwell in them, walk in them, and I will be their God and shall be my people. So God will dwell in them. In other words, in us. Hence the reason why in the 101, in the 102, it specifically says that Allah is in man. The temple of man.
25 minutes. Home stretch.
How many?
About 25. Well, look, we got a little bit more. We got a little bit more than that, but people might have questions. So.
Right. All right. I'm gonna get finished in about 5 minutes here. So when the cosmic creative energies of the Aton ray, which symbolizes the sun, enters the body via the air that you inhale, the life force energy has now entered your house, your flesh. The air inside your lungs is internalized air and air inside matter, called thus to be known as Afra-Ka, the body of light force or personalized life force. While the air outside of the body is simply air, all right, or Ra, all right, universal life force known as prana, chi or ki. The Ka means the raised hands or the highland, exalted land, hill, mountain, in the language of the Kemites or the Kemal. Now, that's interesting because that also symbolizes the higher self. Remember, in the 102, it states how many cells are there? 2. Name them. The highest self, the lowest self. Well, what is the highest self? The highest self is the mother of virtues. What is the lowest self? What breeds slander, lewdness, and everything that harms. So, the Ka symbolizes the higher self. Your Ka is the divine consciousness. It's a drop of divine consciousness, that awareness, that intelligence within matter that symbolizes the breath of the mind or the consciousness from the Supreme Being, the ocean of consciousness. So hence you are in the image and after the likeness of the Supreme Being, Allah, which is you yourself is the Supreme Being. And you take on the attributes of Allah. Your Ka is that divine force of consciousness within your head that is always pulling you in the right direction. Hence the pineal gland is what helps you with being able to go in the right direction. Hence the straight and narrow path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, in the direction which is in harmony with the divine order, Mayat. Prophet Nabajali said, as we said, that the Moors was living up and down the Mississippi before the European man came here, and that the Moors are the offsprings of King Queen. Well, the word Apamek is taken from the word Al-Mak, which is Al-Malik, which within Arabic means kings. For us Americans, we're black. According to scholar C.C. McQueen's Latin scholar, he explains the strong possibility that black people were the first people in America out of which later came the red race, Americans, all right, Indians, as we would say. and in which that is likely repeated long ago that the youthful America was also a Negro continent, that the Alamis, which are the Olmecs of Mexico, and the Cocol of the Haiti, and the Malaya of the Brazil, and the Albano of Panama are the remains of the aboriginal Negro race out of which developed later what is known as the Red or American race. You go to Africa and the discovery of America. You go to the history and the general history of Mexico. These are various books in which that states the same. The Black God of ancient America. The Black began his career in America not as slave but as master. So hence it shows you once again that that's how we came. Here's another article by Diane With, Afro-Americans in pre-Columbian Mexico. These are two hands in which that is found in the museum at Veracruz. And this is called The Art of Terracotta Pottery in Pre-Columbian Central and South America. Right, it's written by Alexander von Wittenow. Here's a picture of the Nubians, or the Nuwapians as they would call themselves, from out of Sudan, and the similarity between the Olmecs and the Nuba people. In Dr. Ali Muhammad's book, it's called Revolutionary Equal War, What Would Free and Unite Black People, the Nationality, Lineage, Government, and History of the Indigenous Black Aboriginal People in America, Volume 1, he shows us that Eliza Turner Whitman, as well as John Drew Whitman, who happened to be the mother and father of Prophet Noble Ali, it stated that in the Moral Science of America, that the teacher that Prophet Noble Ali stated that he was raised on a Cherokee reservation in North Carolina. You read that in the 101 and 102s. Prophet Noble Ali said, though, that I did not tell people in the oral statements and the prophecies. He said, I did not tell anyone where I was born and who my parents were, because I did not want people to make a shrine out of the place and make over my parents like was done with Joseph and Mary. Good reason for that is because his mother was part of the landmark case. That was part of the United States versus the heirs of Henry Turner. And Henry Turner versus the United States, in which that was part of the landmark case, in which that showed that the Louisiana Purchase was never purchased, and that that land belonged to the indigenous Aboriginal people of the Americans. Here we have the state of Louisiana, in which that specifically stated Eliza Whitman, which is also known as Eliza Turner, that she won back over 1,036 acres of land out of the Maison Rouge branch, in which that her family line won back over 68,883 acres, in which that they was going to go for 1 million more acres, 3 million more acres, 15 million acres, and then eventually the whole 30 million acres of land that was going to be, that's controlled, and that was originally controlled by the Moors. You have to watch the Moria, in which that this is the land in which that was given back at that particular time period of northern and central Louisiana. Yes.
Could you go back to the land? The million acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, before that.
Yeah, just touch on that again.
Yes, but here we have, it says on January the 8th, 1992, you requested the cancellation by issue of relatives of the education for unpaid property taxes for the year 1848 in the Washita Parish, Louisiana, in the names of Daniel Cox, Wycliffe Harrison, T.G. Hershey, Sue Henry Turner, Sarah Tyler, Cox and Harrison, and it's a Whitman. All right, and it says that it's 68,883 acres, in which that was given back of the Louisiana so-called said purchase. Of course, the Empress tells us that the purchase never happened; it never occurred, because Napoleon never received the remainder of his almost $4 million in gold. He's supposed to have been given $15 million, in which that he got 11 million, but the other 4 million he never received. It's sunk beneath the ocean floor off the coast of Florida, and never was retrieved. And according to Thomas Jefferson, the only thing which that was purchased in Louisiana was some barracks, military barracks, and a couple of streets. One is Bourbon Street, which they still have today, the Mardi Gras now. That was it. Nothing else in the Louisiana purchase was purchased. So that means that all of the 30 million acres of land belongs to the Moors. And guess what? The fifth prince of the Maison de Rouge grant is Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
The fifth prince.
The fifth prince.
Well, what's the question is what does that mean?
That means he's the ruler of this land called North America. That was the land mandate that he received at the Cuba conference of the Pan American Conference in 1928. Now look here. We'll get more into it in a second. Here you have this is United States versus the Turner heirs. Here you have Sarah Turner, and what you have here, Eliza Turner. So Eliza Turner is Eliza Quitman, one and the same individual. There was debate on YouTube and actually on Facebook by Lord Abba and Dr. Ali Muhammad.
Yeah.
And I told Abba that I got the information in which that verified what Ali Muhammad is saying. And that you can read it in my book, The First World Order. But we show you that Eliza Turner is Eliza Whitman.
Holy shit.
Here is the grant. This is the grant of Maison de Rouge. The actual grant in which that this is part of what Prophet Noble Drew received as the late mandate in 1928.
So why is it under a different name?
As what? You mean the Express Trust?
No, her name, Eliza.
Eliza Turner, Eliza Whitney.
No, that was back because that was her married name. When women get married,
Oh, makes sense.
when they get married, they take up the name of their husbands. John Drew Quitman, the name of her husband. So they took on the Quitman name. But her maiden name was Turner, which was from the Turner tribe, which the Washington, which is the Choctaw, which is one of the first tribes.
May I ask a question?
Noble Drew Ali said this. He said, look what I have for him. Now this was sent to me by the government. It represents the royal prince. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a royal prince of Turner, Washington, the fifth royal regent, or the fifth prince of the Maison de Rouge, which is the Washington proper, misnomer Louisiana Purchase. The Louisiana proper, so-called Louisiana Purchase, which is actually the Washington proper, consists of the states of Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Minnesota, Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, which is part of Texas, Alabama, Utah, New Mexico, portions of even so-called the 13 colonies, as well as all the way up into Canada, the whole of Canada, governed by more than 30 million acres. First 3 million, and then some 15 million, and then eventually 15 million you include Canada, which actually gives you 30 million acres. Here's the map. As you see, portions of the 13 states is included. All of this mass here, basically the whole of Canada, as you can see here.
You're not showing. There's no
On one
map.
of the next slides.
Oh, okay.
And
This is what.
sorry, Dr. Alim. Oh, sorry, Dr. Alim. Is
how does Haiti Toussaint tie in, or does it tie into the Louisiana Purchase? Because isn't it around the same time?
Yeah, that's what the heck was like. What was here in America at that time period.
Repeat, sorry.
The Haitians were fighting with us, but here in America.
Yeah, right.
And by 1804, this is where it occurred, was the state Louisiana Purchase. But more the second was they got more active which one. I'm gonna answer your question and you want to see in a second how clear it comes.
Okay, is
Your audio is breaking up a little bit. Your audio is
Can you hear
breaking
me
up.
now?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Speak again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's better?
That seems okay.
Is that better?
Okay.
So Henry Joseph Turner became okay.
It's just tripping in and out.
How's it?
This is signal.
I mean, you sound good to me.
It sounds.
So it's funny that it seems like right. It's funny. It seems like this information all of a sudden we start breaking up.
Yeah, we're getting in. We're getting deep now.
Mute ours. Mute ours.
All right, hold on. We're gonna mute ours.
Right.
How's that? Text it to me.
All right. How's my sound now? Somebody come back in.
Yeah.
And tell me how it sounds.
There might be a conflict. You can.
Can you hear me? Is it clear now?
Yeah, it's clear. So yeah,
Keep speaking.
we muted our.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Well, okay. It's okay. All right.
Oh, yeah, we muted ours.
So. Yeah. Right. That's good. Right. So here you have Henry Joseph Turner became the recipient of the 1762 and 1395 Imperial Spanish land grant. Remember, go back to the movie. Remember, now Alim, right, the National Grant from Chicago. So also, I also told you, and told you the movie, and when you go back to my old videos, we showed you the movie, Celestial Prophecy. Everybody read the book and it became a movie.
Yeah.
And then within less than 15 to 20 minutes, the two Albions are riding down in a Jeep along the side of a mountain with beautiful far-off scenery.
That was like the first book.
And the driver is talking to the passenger. And the passenger asks, well, how did they get this land? And the driver says, oh, it was given to the by the Moors through a land grant.
I'm sorry, bro. You mind repeating the part about Haiti?
No, he can't hear you.
We'll cut it off when you
This is what he said. So here we have the Imperial Spanish land grants, the third Marquis of Maison de Rouge. And you have here, let's come down, Frederick Houston Washington, regent of the Empire Washington D. de Monia, who married Annie Frankie Turner, the recipient of 1762 and 1795. This is our imperial bloodline of the Turner Washington family and the Spanish land grants and the heirs of the Henry Joseph Turner estate. The eldest daughter of Frederick and Frankie is the current imperial empress of the Washington, Verdiasi Thierry Washington Gaston Turner L. Bay. Verdiasi was married to John Golston, who was the son of Corella Turner. And who's Corella Turner? Guess what? She's the daughter of Eliza Turner. And who is Eliza? She's the mother of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Wow.
So Corella and Drew Ali are brothers and sisters. And Eliza is the daughter of Sarah Turner and Henry Joseph Turner. And John Golston had been the sixth Marquis de Maison Rouge after Prophet Noble Drew Ali, who was made the fifth Marquis de Maison Rouge, which is the fifth prince This is why in the oral statements and prophecies, Prophet Noble Jolly says this. Prophet Noble Jolly said, I am the fifth and the last prophet. And I am 5 times more powerful than I was before. Why did he make that statement? Because he was the 5th prince. The 5th royal regent of the Marquis de Maison Rouge, Spanish land grants, which is the land mandate that was given to him and shown to him to establish his connections once again at the Pan American Conference in 1928.
Islam.
He's the imperial flag of the empire. What showed you that the money Moors. Once again, black, red, and green. Yellow.
Open it up. Red, black, and green.
There's also another picture of the Louisiana Purchase. As you see here, this was all of Louisiana.
So, what's the difference with? Oh, you can't.
You see this? All of Canada.
No, we don't see.
Hold on, we don't see any map. We still,
You don't see the map?
We
No.
see the. We see the.
the map. The okay, now, yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that. All in purple.
Right, all the purchase. This was Louisiana. You see,
Yeah, that's true.
you see Canada? This,
The whole thing.
this comes straight from a history book.
That's what
Louisiana area of influence.
Look at this. Portions of Florida, Alabama, all the 13 colonies, all of the 13 colonies, all of that, all the way up into Canada. Toronto is right around here. That means Toronto is owned by the Canaanland Wars.
Islam.
Islam.
we were.
Over there. There you go. All the way up.
Yeah.
Canada. This is what Prophet Noble Jolly was over. Nearly 3/4 of the whole damn North America. And this is why they hide that fact. But it ain't hitting no more.
Islam.
And this is why the Moors in the temple can't explain it.
Right.
Because they disconnected themselves from the family and the bloodline. And that correlates back to what Prophet Noble Jolly said. That you must respect your forefathers and foremothers, or they are what? The bearers of their own history.
Yeah, hold on.
They are Moors. And few of them.
Somebody wants a what do you call it? A reference for this map.
This is from a history book. Actually from a children's history book. Grade 8, 8th grade history book, social studies.
What's it called?
I don't know the name of the book. I took it from out of one of the children's books, in which that when I seen it, I said, "Oh, I got to have it."
But I think it's
But I'm pretty sure that most of the 8th grade children's books will probably show something similar to this. When they speak about the Louisiana Purchase, the Lewis and Clark Exposition.
Lewis and Clark.
Go west, young man, as they say. So here's a picture of the Empress. According to the Empress Badiasi Gaston El Bay, she states that Thomas Jefferson was well aware of the fraudulent land deal, because the original price, $15 million in gold, was to purchase only a few streets. One was Bourbon Street, which they hold the Mardi Gras annually, and some military barracks. That's what it was for, not the land, but the estate.
Yeah.
The real estate.
Yeah.
The whole Louisiana property was never part of the land deal. And in fact, it is when each of the West was referred to by President Abraham Lincoln, and this is why he was assassinated, because he was getting ready to give us at least 5 states back out of that. Moreover, the payment to Napoleon Bonaparte was never fully rendered. He received in value $13,250,000 in gold. Hence, the other $2,750,000 in gold sunk beneath the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Florida, and it was never retrieved. Therefore, full payment was never rendered, so not even a few streets or military barracks was really purchased. This is another article from the Inner City Plow, in which the Empress goes into it. Continuing her quest to bring truth to light, Empress Badiasi Tierra Washington Tourniquet Gaston El Bay records 40 years of work including research as an archivist in order to locate documents and treaties concerning land known as the Louisiana Purchase, in which our people are identified as the ancient ones. The Empress say that the land was never included in any land deal and that it was not part of the Louisiana Purchase, which was sold by Spain to France, nor was it bought in 1803 when the France rolled it over to, when France rolled it over to the United States of America. She writes, President Thomas Jefferson was well aware of this fraudulent land deal and stated his sentiments at the time. In truth, the land spoken of has never been part of the United States of America. It has always belonged to the ancient ones. These sound like the same land President Abraham Lincoln was going to return to the Moors after slavery. He called it the Egypt of the West, or the Central America, the land between the Rockies and the Allegheny Mountains, from the Gulf of Mexico up into Canada. And on both sides of the Mississippi, his prophet Johnny said that the Moors was living up and down the Mississippi. In 1848, the Washita, also Washita and Tunica tribes took their land case before the United States Supreme Court and won their case under Judge Taney, the same judge who in 1856 gave his opinion, which was not a legal decision, but in the tragic Dred Scott case, which basically stated there's nothing that a black man has that a white man is bound to respect. The result of this opinion meant further slavery and death to the Washita, Tunica, and the other nations, and they was murdered by tens of thousands, enslaved and ran off the land, and then names was changed to hide the truth of their history, and the Washita became Washington, and the Tunica became Turner.
Islam.
So the Empress writes to George W. Bush, and she states, one nation cannot make laws in another nation. One nation cannot make laws in another nation's land. One nation cannot steal and sell another nation's ancestral artifacts and property. Then flood their sacred places with indigenous people's land that has always belonged to the ancient ones, which is protected by treaty signed by the Protectorate. It is further proclaimed that all indigenous sacred lands and grounds shall be returned to the descendants of the ancient inhabitants to ensure preservation. Be it further proclaimed that I now take all indigenous nations, tribes, communities, and villages with our land, rivers, and wildlife under the protection of the Empire Washita D.W. Money. And it is further proclaimed that the 13 United States, and the United States of America must make fair and just compensation for the dispossession of the people and the unauthorized occupation of our land, commencing with the first part to be paid $80 quadrillion, non-counterfeit USDA, each year for 194 years. This being the third and final notice of the outstanding debt of the 13 United States and the United States and the United States of America based on a claim filed that is yet to be settled or relieved. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation be sent to the governments of the 13 United States, and the United States of America, as well as the governments of the member states of the United Nations and the non-nations concerned. Therefore, it is now proclaimed in legal session convened this fourth day of the second month of the year 1997 of this common era. And you see, Boniasi Tierra Washita Tunica Gaston L. Bay, her signature, the seal of the Washita, witnesses, and true copy. This is the origin of the word Washita. In the Book of the Dead, hieroglyphics, it says the word Washishet means the serpent head, or the serpent-headed goddess. Washishet was a form of Hathor, and was identified with the appearance of the sky in the north and when the sun rose. She was either depicted in the form of a woman, having upon her head the crown, as you see here, of the north, and the scepter. Round was a serpent entwined, and a winged Uranus wearing the crown of the south, or of the north. She was the principal goddess of the town of Buto in the Delta. So the word Washet or Washita if you put the T, put the A at the end of Washita, you will have the word Washita, which is the symbol of Hawthorne, which is symbolic to the serpent, or the serpent race, the Naga people, or the serpent race people, which is another name in which we have gone by. Here at the United Nations, the Economic and Social Council on the Discrimination Against Indigenous People, you will see the word Washito Didamunya Nudet, oldest indigenous people on earth, and it's right here on www.cwis.org/FWDP/international/report14.txt. And you will see we listed at the United Nations as the oldest indigenous people on earth.
Wow. More so than
the Washito, according to the article of Ancient American issue 17, the Washito Nation holds National Convention. In the article, it says evidence for black-skinned natives in America long before the arrival of Columbus is abundant. From the distinctive Negro features of licensed sculptured heads in a pre-Aztec Abyssinian bowl being upheld by a figure with unmistakable black characteristics, to the bones of Negroid persons excavated from a 2,000-year-old mound in northern Wisconsin. A wealth of material exists to establish the certainty of non-white, non-Indian population living in pre-Columbian America along with these other groups. Thus, there were so many mounds have been deliberately destroyed. Over 200,000 ancient pyramids and huge mounds of earth in the shape of cone, animals, and geometric designs can still be found in the south northern coast of America to Canada. These structures were built by a so-called obscure people largely known as the mound builders. So they tell you who the mound builders were, who designed these ancient pyramids and mounds, and it was the Washito. This is according to their own magazine, Ancient American Magazine. Here's pictures.
God told me exactly like that. She mother's Korean and the father is more. Well, they're both more, but it's exactly.
So we must make a distinction between an artificial person and natural person or natural being. Artificial person, according to Blackfield Dictionary, 7th edition, means an entity such as a corporation created by law and given certain legal rights, hence no privileges and duties as human beings. So why would you have to be given rights by law if you're already a lawful being? I self-law and master. A being, real or imaginary. You see that? A being, real or imaginary. Remember, color means imaginary. Appears to be real, but is it? We still got organizations now with the word colored up in it. NAACP, the Negro Association of Advancement Association of Colored People. And it says who, for the purpose of legal reasoning, is treated more or less as a human. So you're treated in artificial status more or less as a human being, but it also means a fictitious person, a juristic person, or legal person. So you're not a lawful person, but a fictitious person when you use those terms, Negro, black, and colored. But a natural person, a human being, as opposed to artificial and fictitious persons, such as corporations. The phrase natural person does not include corporate entities, but the phrase person without qualification may or may not include artificial persons, depending on the context. But you got to be. That's why you got to be. That's why you have to be particularly careful about using the word person. That's why I said natural being. Right? However, if you're going to use person, make sure it always is prefixed by natural. Islam. So that is it. Of course. Islam. Of course, is any questions?
Yeah, we have a couple questions.
Yeah.
All right.
What was the question?
Yeah, the question about the Haitian. Remember when you said, well, what was the relation with the Haitian and what was going on south?
Yeah,
The Haitians, yeah.
A brother is. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah. Brother's asking if you can elaborate on the Haitians' relationship to the Louisiana Purchase, and
Right.
yeah, if you can.
All right. The Haitians were not just Africans, but part of the Native Americans or the Moors in which that existed on the island known as Haiti, or known as Haiti, prior to the Africans coming there. It was the same type of amalgamation in which that occurred here with the Africans and the native Moors who already were here, or the indigenous people that was already here. And what happened is that there was also part of the Arawak.
Right.
The Haitian was Arawak. Well, the word Arawak stems from the Cherokee Nation. That was one of the 5 names used by the Cherokee was Arawak. One of them was Arawak.
Wow, what are you telling me? Yeah?
The Cherokee are Moors.
Yeah.
They was Moors. It was part of the Cherokee Moor Nation, or the Moabites. And you can get that from off Taj's website. He speaks about it on RV Bay publication.
Yeah.
That the Cherokee, which they speak about Ali and his Cherokee connection. And remember, if he was raised on the Cherokee Reservation, born on the Cherokee Reservation in 1886. So that means that he was part of the Arawak. So he's part of the same people. The Haitians and the Cherokee are one and the same people. So hence the Haitians came here and fought with the Moors during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
In order to help to retrieve the land known as the Louisiana Purchase. Misnomer.
Could you switch back to your camera?
I'm still on.
Yeah. No, it's just you're showing your screen.
Oh, I'm showing you. Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then
now we're seeing the
oh, we're seeing the slides now.
yeah.
Right.
I think you press the plus.
To do
Go back to the plus in Skype.
Go back to the plus.
Yeah, and then
right on the screen. I think it is.
oh
do
no,
what?
sorry, the top of your screen it says stop sharing. Press that.
Where?
Right there, you're good.
Okay, yeah, good now.
I'm good.
Oh no, where it says stop sharing. See where it says stop sharing at the top of the screen?
No, I don't have that.
Oh, it pops up when you go up there, the middle of the screen. No, in the middle. Oh, yeah, you can seem to have it.
No, it doesn't look
Right, I don't have it. I don't know why.
That's all right.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Okay, we have another question.
Okay, yes.
Can you tie in for me Santeria in Cuba and Voodoo in Haiti and Macumba Candomblé in Brazil?
Yeah, well, you talking about African religions in particular, stem from Palo Mayombe and the different other Palo branches coming from out the Congo.
Yeah.
In which that
And from the Yoruba tradition.
right, in which that influenced the Yoruba traditions, in which that also influenced the Akan, Ifa traditions, in which that when the Africans were brought here and intermingled with the Native Americans or the Moors in Louisiana, produced what is called hoodoo, which is a form of voodoo or voodoo coming from the Akan, in particular. Of course, when they got mixed with the Spaniards with their traditions of the Catholic belief system, that produced Santeria. So these are still African religions or customs and traditions in which that we inherited through that particular marriage. but it also already existed prior to that because it's actually part of the ancient mystery school system.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Which that the left hemisphere of the brain needs something tangible, and the right hemisphere of the brain is abstract, so it doesn't need anything tangible. But in order to activate the right hemisphere of the brain, you must use something tangible, something that you can see, touch, taste, and smell, in order to give it a quality, in order to activate the right hemisphere of the brain. So through these particular regions, that's what was done. Whether it's through candle magic, whether it's through burning incense, whether it's through putting your ancestors on the altar, whether it's your pots or your cauldrons, whatever may be, or whether it's the blood from animals, such as animal sacrifices, just as in the Old Testament. You had the Hebrew Israelites, the said Jews, which that performed animal rites, animal sacrifices. So these are ancient traditions, in which that was practiced. Now, these were still just tools, however. They were still just tools. Just like the tarot cards are tools. The Ouija board is a tool. Numerology, astrology charts, they are tools. Once you have mastered them, you no longer need them, because you become the contained vessel for the God, for a spirit, the living entity for the spirit, or for that power, for that prana, for that chi, for that key energy. These particular traditions of the cultures was just used to get the individual to that point where you can actually utilize 100% usage of your brain, and no longer just 2 to 10%, in which that the average person uses today.
I had another one is Taoism. Is that part of also the Moorish religion?
Yeah, Taoism?
Yes.
Yeah. You talking about Taoism?
Yes.
Yeah, it is, because that was help us with the science of tracking, in particular water. When the Taoism rods go crazy and they start spinning in a circle, that means that you near a water source. And water is vital. And there's always a fresh water source in which that you're looking for. So
okay, not Taoism. I didn't mean Taoism pendulum. I meant Taoism.
The Tao, like the
Tao.
Taoism.
The Taoism, we call it Taoism.
Oh, okay.
Taoism.
Yeah, Taoism.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm saying. Yeah. Well, Taoism. That is.
And is Taoism correlated with Da in the Akan language?
Yes, in the Igbo language is one of those.
Creator source.
Yes, exactly. Taoism, which is spelled D-A-O, or Taoism T-A-O.
T or D.
Yeah, Taoism she's talking about.
No, I'm making the correlation between Taoism, which is pronounced Taoism, and the African Da, which is spirit, energy, and source.
Right, it's one and the same.
It's one and the same. That's what I say. Yeah.
One and the same. Which within the Orient it means the way.
Yes.
So the way is energy. It is spirit. It is the soul. And the more that we encompass those energies into our body, the more we expand the mind and expand the brain. And that's the key. Well, that's the reason in the Orient of Qigong, Tai Chi, within the Hindu Kush people in India, amongst the people with the yoga.
Yes.
Even Muata Ashby will show within his book, Egyptian Yoga 1 and 2, the connection between all of the major world religions, as well as also how they came from the ancient mystery school of Egypt. In other words, Africa. And we know for sure that the East Africans, the West Africans specifically say within their traditions that they came from East Africa. You know that the Dogon left from out of Egypt 8,000 years ago, or 6,000 BC.
Are the Dogons related to the Olmec?
Yes, the Olmecs are the Dogons,
right,
which are us. So we one of the same people. The Moors in which that Prophet Noah was saying, living up and down the Mississippi Valley, were the Olmecs, which is us. And for those who have ancestry within the north, the eastern seaboard area, on up and down the 13 state colonies, all the way up into Canada, and the northern portions of Chicago, Detroit area, and Wisconsin, into Milwaukee, that whole area, into Canada, that is us. We're the OMAX.
Got one more question. You see, remember on your chart with the indigenous people, right? We said the wreck that the indigenous people had, like you could make your own nation and you could make your own this and that. Huh? Yeah, of course. Does it only apply for the United States, or is it also for the whole of North America, like Canada included? And where does that chart come from? Human rights.
The brother was picking up. Can something repeat that? That's closer.
Yeah, I can come closer. This way.
Yeah, let's watch the chord.
No,
Watch the chords.
Yeah.
No, you remember the chart that you spoke about in the beginning, the chart that you said about the human rights of the indigenous people. Does that also
Right.
yeah. Does that also apply for people in Canada or only for people in the United States?
Canada.
No, internationally.
Internationally, yeah.
Where can you get it? Where can you find it?
Right, internationally. You see, it says even people who claim voluntarily that even protected on distance. It means they can even claim their rights of indigenous people. So that means any locals on the planet can claim indigenous status. Well, that is an international treaty between 144 countries, so that means that's a worldwide treaty now. And even Obama signed on it a couple of years ago.
Well, are you saying that every black people is more? Is that what? Everybody that's black is
Yeah,
more?
according to Webster Dictionary, the bishop was Northwestern was a lawyer. In Western, the student was a lawyer, and he was finding out that
So it's tripping out again.
the word more means dark and black.
It's tripping out again. If you can repeat that.
Dan Webster was the lawyer who wrote the Webster Dictionary.
All right.
He stated that the word more is dark complected. You know, the dark complected people. He and also used the word black in that regard. But the word dark complected people would refer to any dark people on the planet.
And the part where said the 3/5, like that being black is a 3/5 of a human being. I didn't get that part. Did they say that once you're black, you're 3/5 of a human being? Is that what they said on the chart?
Right. Well, the black means basically you're 5/5 of a human being. And so because like 3/5 of a human being means that you're a subhuman, because the word black or adjectives and that the words in which that describes us. So we can use it as a descriptive. Back in the days we used the word black or more. But the word more was the proper noun. What happened is that they took the word more off and just left black. So now they just left through the category. And no longer a proper noun would be a person's thing. As a natural person, you have a natural name, which is tied back to the land, to the natal, to the label, which is the land, and because of lack of nationality, with different official labels, the which they classify as different for the human being, according to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, and that includes Canada.
Can you slow down a little bit? Because you're cutting out again.
Can you break down
That includes Canada.
what they represent?
That includes Canada because first few years as Afro-Americans also. And we did actual dictionary.
Could you repeat that?
Islam, yeah, you're cutting out a little bit. Could you come closer to the mic?
You hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
That's good.
Could you repeat that, please,
A
Islam?
little bit better.
All right.
Oh, it's connection.
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
So what I was saying is that Negro, Black, and Colored status is classified within the Constitution, 3/5 of a human being. Here in the Americas, we have 4 constitutions, and it lingers over into the Constitution in Canada through the Article of Confederation. In the Article of Confederation, it links the United States and Canada as North America already. All right, so it links us all together. So remember, when the slaves supposedly left the South running from the master, they were going to the land of milk and honey, which was the Canaanland, or the land of Canada. All right, you will find many who went up into those regions, such as Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass. Of course, we're talking about, they was in New York on the other side of the Niagara Falls, but of course, on the other side of the Niagara Falls is Canada. So they would actually help slaves. Abolitionists would actually help slaves to cross over. Okay, so, now who were the slaves? Well, the Emperor showed you that the slaves were the original indigenous people who was already here, 85% of us, as well as also the 15% of the Africans who was brought here to intermingle with us, which was not a bad thing, but it was a way in order to steal the land in one sense, in order to make us stateless and nationless. Hence the reason why Marcus Garvey said we need nationhood and nationality, as well as Prophet Noble Ali. However, it was a good thing genetically because they was able to kill us off, with the smallpox, which they put on the blankets, and by mixing it with our African brothers and sisters, that made our genetic strand stronger once again. It made our hair more kinky or kingly, as we would say once again. You know what I'm saying? So that was a good thing with mixing in with our brothers and sisters from Africa. And if you notice in the Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People, in the definition of the Inter-American Declaration, it specifically says those who was here prior to their territories being settled by the Europeans, as well as those who was brought here involuntarily from to the New World against their will, and they wish to reestablish themselves from the culture in which they've been torn. So that means for the Olmecs, who were Africans who were already here, as well as the other indigenous people who was already here prior to that, who was still blacks, because that was like one of the second or the third impacts. So we said the Olmecs was over here over 5,000 years ago, as well as the 400 years ago with the Africans coming over here just then. We're still included within the definitions being indigenous. And that includes Canadian said Moors, United States Moors, as they call us, or whatever cases, the Adjoining Islands, Central, South American. In Venezuela, which is in South America, do you know that years ago that the Venezuelan president, as well as also Fidel Castro, they both proclaimed that they was Moors?
Oh, say again, please.
Fidel Castro and
the president of Venezuela. Who's the president of Venezuela? Chavez.
Yeah.
Chavez and Fidel Castro both proclaimed that they were Moors. And told the people that they should study their Moorish heritage.
That's big.
Is that why they were never defeated? Is that why Castro has never been defeated by America?
As well as Haiti.
As well as Haiti.
As well as Ethiopia, which is the land of the Cushites. None of the places in which that we come from was ever conquered, but that we dwelt in for a long extended period of time, in which that we had an extension of our empire. So from Ethiopia, which is Kush, which includes Sudan, Somalia, Ethiopia now, as well as also parts of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, all the way up into Egypt. All of that was Ethiopia, all the way across to the west, on western side was Ethiopia, Assyria, also known as Assyria. These are all words, once again, which that was used in history. However, we was Cushites. We was Kush. The children of Kush, the family of Kush. And as we left from there, the Olmecs, who left from out of Mali, of the Dogon, they journeyed into the west over 5,000 years ago. Prior to that, 75,000 years ago, was the Fossums. Prior to that, 100,000 years ago, were the Washington. Prior to that, 600 million years ago was the Twa, or the Pygmies as they reassume it. So we have been here in the Americas, in the Western Hemisphere, over 600 million years.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this is ours. There's nobody been on the planet that long, nor have that much history. And nor has been that civilized. Right now we're seeing the fall of the Western Empire once again, with their economy getting ready to collapse. And this is worldwide.
Islam, what role does Obama plays in all of that? All of this for the Moorish people?
Obama has given out a lot of clues, but because he's in that position, it's our job in order to put forth more information and to get it out to the public so that he can step up what he's doing. As long as he sees the Moors in-house fighting, Facebook, which is CIA ran, and see us acting slave with one another, then guess what? You know that we're not ready. Sure. But however, he's given clues. So has George Bush, so has Dick Cheney. They all have spoken about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of Morocco. And that's the longest standing treaty. As well as also Obama has actually given a whole speech which he gave in Egypt and Morocco concerning the Moors.
Islam.
Okay? So
when was
let me tell you this too, is that Obama he was being interviewed on the radio by well, I don't know if you'll get the radio station here, the information here, but but he was being interviewed, and in the interview, I think it was by, oh man, what was his name?
Yeah.
I'm seeing him in my face. I'm seeing him in my face right now, in my mind's eye, but I can't. He's a radio host that comes on in the morning times. He's a radio host that comes in Tom Joyner. He's being interviewed by Tom Joyner, and Tom Joyner asked him, well, what do you want us to call you? You know, African American, black, you know. And so he just came out and said, well, I'm not black. And Tom Joyner was like, well, you know, well, what are you? He said, well, black does not have any nationality, ethnicity, no landmass connection. So Obama is trying to tell the people what's going on. Now, we've been told by many Shriners that they're glad that we're waking up. And they specifically ask us, are we Moors? So obviously, that's a key word in which that is being utilized even within Shriner, in which that's Zali is God with the Shriner's outfit of the 1930s, of the 1900s. Because these was clues in which that we're supposed to continue with, not to debate over.
But what about the Nation of Islam? Like these guys, to me, what I see from Farrakhan and all.
The Nation of Islam came forth through Mustafa Muhammad, who's known as David Ford L. within the Moral Science Temple of America. He was given that position by Prophet Ali 2 weeks before him going to jail.
Elijah?
Yes, because of the tall green earth.
Yeah.
Tall green.
No, he asked you to just go back a little bit because he's a
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, did you say he gave the position to Elijah or to what's the name of the other one? Master Farad. What's his name? Farad? Farad. Yeah, Farad. He gave it to Farad, he said? Yeah?
One more time. Master Farad Muhammad was known as David Ford L. in the Moral Science Temple of America. According to all of my Moorish elders, all my Moor elders have told me this. That Master Farad Muhammad is David Ford L. within the Moral Science Temple of America. That is him in the upper left-hand corner in 1928 at the convention. Okay? What happened was that 2 weeks prior to Prophet Ali's death, he was given the position as the Supreme Grand Sheikh And obviously that was the acting Supreme Grand Sheik of Temple Number 1, which was out of Chicago. All right. Now, who normally held that position was Edward Millie Ill.
Okay, yeah.
He normally was the Supreme Grand Master, Supreme Grand Sheik, of the Temple 1. However, he was receiving threats from the camp of Charles Kirkman Bey.
Right.
Okay? So what happened was that Master Muhammad, or known as David Ford L., when he left the temple after the death of Prophet Noble Ali, he gave a prediction in which that the stock market would crash and the economy of the world would come tumbling down. Right? He said that's because of the death of Prophet Noble Ali. Now, he was over Temple, he went back to Temple 3 where he was in the Death Act. All right, and according to Bey, who was over Temple 3 at the time, in which that Hakeem Bey showed me the and spoke about the connection between Master Muhammad, and said that Elijah Muhammad, his wife and brother, and all of them was actually part of the Detroit Temple during that time period, and that the names was listed as adepts on the road. Okay, so what happened was that they turned that temple after Cook Bey. He left that temple. I can't remember his name. There was another one, but he was over the Detroit Temple at the time. Detroit Temple that closed down, and Master Farah Muhammad, who was David Ford L., became Master Farah Muhammad, and he turned that temple into the Allah's Temple of Islam, in which that later on became the Nation of Islam.
So,
and so Hakeem Bey told me that that's the exact same temple. That was once the Moore Science Temple, which they turned into the first temple of the Nation of Islam, known as the Allah's Temple of Islam.
Jesus. Right, makes sense. So may I ask a question? So, did Prophet Ali assign Mili Il Supreme Grand Sheik?
Yes.
And then how did now?
But also in a secret meeting, Kirkman Bey was given the title Supreme Grand Advisor and Moderator also.
By Drew Ali.
No, not by Drew Ali.
Right.
By the council, by the Supreme Council.
Right. Oh, right. Afterwards or something.
Right.
Okay.
After the death of Prophet Noble Ali, the Supreme Council came together in which that they nominated Charles Kirkman Bey as Supreme Grand Advisor and Moderator. However, who held the position of Supreme Grand Sheik, Edward Millie.
Right.
But because he was dipping in and out because of death threats, he can't run the temple properly like he needed to. And so the only temple in which that he ended up having was Temple 1. While the other temples actually came up under Charles Kirkman Bey and John Gibbon Hill. In which that Charles Kirkman Bey temple became the largest, and then behind it was John Gibbon Hill's temples, which is actually known originally as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science.
Okay. So Ford L was given what temple?
He was given the Detroit Temple.
Detroit Temple number 3. Yeah, that's right.
Detroit. Right. He was given after he was acting as the Supreme Grand Sheik of Temple number 1 during the time when Edward Millie Ill was receiving death threats, and he was given the title. He was given that position by Prophet Noble Ali. This is why later on, as he started to run Temple number 3, after Bey left, after Bey left, he was able to transform that temple into a large temple of Islam as the first temple of the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
Which was actually temple number 3 of the Moore Science Temple of America.
So we need a part 2, bro. This is beautiful. This was like,
Islam.
Islam.
Alim, could you please elaborate on the 5/5 that it makes up to be a whole person?
Oh, the 5/5
that
don't make up a whole person. Just for anyone who doesn't know.
What are the 5?
What are the 5/5 of a human being according to
Well, I guess
the
the
law?
5 stars.
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying. of course, it would be based on our senses, seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, and hearing.
Mhm.
However, two was taken from you, your sight and your hearing. If I showed it to you, you wouldn't believe it. If you heard me speak it, you still wouldn't believe it. So that means that they basically made you deaf, dumb, and blind, because deaf and dumb means that you stand mute. And whenever you stand mute, that means that you agree with what is being said, even if it's coming from an opposing party, for which that would be in opposition for what is on your best behalf. And then deaf, dumb, and then blind symbolizes the sight. So then you see the monkey with the fez on, and then they also show you the monkey with deaf, dumb, and blind, which is what? See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So what happens is that we must come back under 5/5, which is utilizing all of our senses. Now, in that regard, this is just a metaphysical breakdown of. Of course, it also symbolizes sovereignty, peace, freedom, and justice. Those 5 elements. In other words, up under the laws of Mayat. You know, so 5/5 within the Black Star Dictionary means in full life. It's the opposite of Civilis Mortus, which means to be seen in the eyes of the Lord as dead. To be dead in the eyes of the Lord, especially civically.
Okay, there's a question on the Ustream about Hunter's Lodge and part of the Upper Canada Rebellion, if you know anything about that.
You said the Upper Lodge?
The Hunter's Lodge.
Upper
Or the
Canada.
Hunter's Lodge?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anytime.
They're trying to check it out.
Yeah, you just cut out.
Or tell them to search that one.
Yeah.
2 for 2.
Or if you can bring that
Tripping out is
for the part 2, because they're tripping, they're hacking it.
tripping out. Wow.
Somewhat.
It's been the worst one so far.
Somewhat. It's the audio
Type 2.
connection.
Type 2. Type 2, let's close out.
Okay.
There's a lot of things up for a little bit one time.
Okay.
The 13th and 14th Amendments. They're illegally just attached to the Constitution or not ratified by Congress.
He says it on the form. He
So
says
that's
exactly
what. Okay, yeah, the concept. Yeah. But again, it's
He
illegal.
says what he shows. It shows Negro, and then he shows Negro like 3/5 of a human being or whatsoever.
No, not on the amendments. I think that's in like the Jim Crow laws would say it. You know what I mean? Like, but the coding is within the
Okay, so
amendments
we're
of the
gonna close
Constitution
out.
of creating this artificial entity.
Okay.
Once again,
You know what I
we
mean?
thank you
And
graciously, and we appreciate the the research, the knowledge. This has been one of the biggest lectures ever. And if you could lead us in the prayer to close out.
Okay, so you can hear me now?
Yeah, we got you. So you can go ahead.
Okay, you came back on, okay.
Yeah, we can't stop the prayer.
Okay. Now you was asking me what now?
Oh, just if you could lead us out with the prayer, Moorish American prayer.
Oh, okay. Let me get my info. Let me try to put this down if I can put my hands up. Put up to 7. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I had another one that I wanted to say also, but let me see if I can find it right quick.
And also too, Alim, if you have any sites or whatever to plug, make sure you do that too.
Okay, you can go to my website, www.cultural-freedom, FREEDOM.com. You can also go to the YouTube, Moorish, www.moorish or More Heritage, MOOR Heritage, HERITAGE.com. And that is also a website, so you can also pick us up on YouTube as well as also on our website.
What was the website? One more time, please.
www.moreheritage.com.
And the one before that, cultural.
Yeah, that's
Cultural dash, which is hyphen freedom. Cultural hyphen freedom. As well as also webs.com /Raka, RAKA /again. Also, another good book to get. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. Can y'all see me?
No.
We can't see.
Okay.
No, if you okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
we got you now.
Oh, wow.
Another good book to get.
The Negro, the Black, the Moor, right?
By who?
This is by
Oh yeah.
Amani Amanu Ill, the former national grand chief from the Dingle Brothers /
Oh yeah.
from John Givenell.
Could you give us the name again, please?
The Negro, the Black, the Moor.
And the author?
The author.
Romani, ROMANI, Amanu, AMENU -L. That's ROMMANI. Islam.
Any other more book references? Or is that?
Of course, I mean, you have the Lahu Pleasant Bay's book, which I'm sure the students already know about,
Right.
which is Exhuman of a Nation, the autobiography of Prophet Obadiah Ali. You also have another book written by Timothy Dingle, L., The Resurrected Moor Science Temple of America, Those are some more references, as well as my book, which is The First World Order,
Where can you
The
get
Global
that?
Path of the Ancient Ones.
All right.
I have one last question. Do you have time for it?
Yes.
How can we empower ourselves to use magic, science, metaphysics, and spirituality to renew our personal power?
Well, you have to first learn the science of how to store energy in your body. And how you can do that is learn the locations, such as your navel chakra, as long the back of your heart, as well as also your third eye region. If you want to expand your life force and have health, then you will learn how to absorb energy within your dantian, which is your navel chakra, or about an inch or two below your navel chakra. If you want to learn the science of love, then you will store the energy at the heart chakra, at the back of the heart. If you want to learn the science of intellect, then you would do so in the third eye area. So whenever you are trying to gain mastery over these particular sciences in your life or attributes, then you will store the energy in those particular positions or locations. And that can be done by the practice of Qigong and Tai Chi, as well as also speaking to our ancestors. All right?
Yeah.
So when you set up your altar, you can actually put the pictures of your ancestors and speak with them. Light your candles, light your incense, pour your water, your libations, as well as also make sure you have natural things around, food or seashells, copper, anything that's conduct. And what happens is that you manifest a positive arena or area or section within your home. So anytime that you feel drained, you can always go there in order to get rejuvenated. This is based on feng shui in the Orient. So feng shui would be a good way of mastering those sciences and setting up your home in that like manner.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Can we close?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, bro.
All right. Everybody, put up 5 and 2. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom.
Freedom.
And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide and my salvation.
My guide and my salvation.
By night and by day.
By night and by day.
Through the Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali.
Through the Holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam.
Islam. Right. Another prayer ready? Or is that?
No, I couldn't find it.
Okay.
Next part 2.
Part 2. So
Part 2.
Yeah, we gotta set up part 2, bro.
All right, no doubt.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate
you.
that, bro. Islam. Bless the Empress, the whole family.
Yeah, bless up everyone.
No doubt.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace and love, more.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Stagnate them.